All right. I think that's it. I think we're live. Hello, whoever's watching, because I don't think anybody's watching right now. Um, there's a new show called Sober
Welcome.
Gamers. Sober Gamers.
We're the sober gamers.
Sober Gamers. We're sober and we're gaming.
Always game sober.
Never, never under any influence can you game. It's more dangerous than driving. If anything, you should drive under the influence and game sober.
You start taking one monster, next thing you know,
You're the monster. Today we're going to talk about some roundabout topics and just kind of test the waters. Nico Bain, and this is my dear friend, Comprehend, a man of
zombie come.
a man of many prowesses. I just realized that if I leave Breath of the Wild without moving it, it'll eventually like go dark. So I'm just gonna like lightly walk around as Link, I guess. Yeah. What are we talking about today? Big guy.
Well, first of all, we have to discuss Nintendo's 2025.
It's true. Nintendo had
Nintendo's 2025 in review.
a pretty interesting 2025 with the brand new console that I have not bought, but you have.
I say so. I have it. I guess we can discuss that. I mean, Nico, did you wind up playing any of the new releases this year?
Not really, no. I'm usually not a very new release buying kind of guy. However, I do keep up with the industry a lot, and I look up for some of the releases that I'm always like excited for. So I'll always like be up to buying like a new Zelda game day one or something like that. At least a mainline game, or like a new Mario game and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of people are kind of negative about Nintendo's 2025
Right.
and 2026. They're not super in love with the trajectory of the company. Somehow, even though it's been the most successful console launch of all time, I believe. And it launched with some absolute gangbuster games like Mario Kart and eventually Donkey Kong. But people are just like not as excited about this console generation as the last one. As somebody who has played the Switch 2, what do you think?
You know, I think what people are really upset about is the lack of that one killer app that was available on launch. There was no big single player game on launch, and Donkey Kong released a month after. And while Donkey Kong is good, it's also kind of
It's kind of niche.
it is kind of niche, but it's also kind of experimental. It is a good game, but I also think that it's also kind of a mindless game in a lot of ways. Like that's kind of what they're going for, and it just wasn't as deep as like neither Mario Kart World or Donkey Kong were as deep as Zelda was at launch. Zelda, like Zelda launched, and yeah, of course it's like it was a cross-gen title, but no one owned the Wii U, so it didn't matter. And
Yeah.
like you could sink 200 plus hours into that game, like easily. And people just don't see that kind of value in Nintendo's releases this year. And I guess that's fair. I mean, people were really expecting 3D Mario this year, right?
Oh,
People
last year, you
wanted
mean.
3D Mario.
2025.
Yeah, last year in 2025, people were really expecting 3D Mario, and it didn't happen. And it's kind of crazy because usually Nintendo likes to launch with a Mario game.
It's a
Especially
shame.
launched
It's a
with
shame too
Mario
that
Kart World,
I'm pretty sure you've played the new Donkey Kong, but That game is by all
Yeah.
intents and purposes like the new Mario game. It's a shame that it didn't seem to capture. It seemed to whoever.
It's not really the new Mario game,
Yeah,
to be honest.
the people who
it
played
is a
it,
Donkey Kong game.
the people who played it really liked it, but it does seem like it failed to kind of like catch the normies or catch like the general consumer as much. Even though I'm pretty sure it's probably sold as well as it one could have expected of like a new Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, it sold pretty well. And it is a good game. Although I I don't think it's as good as Mario Odyssey. Even though I'm not as big of a fan of Odyssey, I guess. There really isn't a lot for hardcore fans in the title because the game is so casual. It definitely went. That's the thing about Nintendo is that people just want the same thing over and over again on some level, and Nintendo just refuses to do that. Donkey Kong titles used to be for like hardcore gamers. They used to be just really hard, difficult platformers, and there's really none of that in Donkey Kong Bonanza. The game is like piss easy. It is so easy.
Yeah, it's more of like an expressive. Or
it's a it's a very casual game.
Yeah, it's more natural. Yeah.
And if you like that kind of thing, good for you. But I do think there's a lot to be desired there for hardcore fans. But I do think that we're coming in from the first year, and it's pretty obvious that Nintendo has some titles ready. Furukawa already said that, yeah, we have big titles ready. We're just waiting for the right time.
Right now, what is announced? What's like a big title announced right now? Like we got Fire Emblem.
It's basically just Fire Emblem.
Really?
Pretty much. I mean,
No
there's Mario
Xenoblade.
Tennis Fever, Yoshi.
Yeah, no Xenoblade yet.
Yeah, no Xenoblade. But the main reason to buy a Switch 2 right now is not because you need Mario Kart World, although Mario Kart World is a really, really good game. It is one of the best Mario Kart games.
It looks really
It's basically because Switch 2 is an upgrade. That's the selling point. Switch 2 just is so much better than Switch 1. When you hold Switch 1 in your hands, it feels cheap. There's a lot to be desired in the console. In my opinion, it felt like a step back from the Wii U. It felt a lot cheaper. Just to use the controller to play the games. Even if it was more powerful at the time. But with Switch 2, all the problems are basically gone. Switch 2 is just better. It is just a better version of the Switch. And if you want to play Mario Odyssey, or Mario 3D World, or Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, or Zelda Breath of the Wild in the best quality, you should pick up a Switch 2. Obviously, because
have you upgraded?
It's just a better version.
Have you upgraded some of your Switch 1 games like Breath of the Wild and stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah, because I got the expansion pass on launch, so you got those for free.
Of course,
and I've also played through some of the upgraded titles, for a lot of Switch games really did launch in a less than ideal state, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not a great console for performance. it's a pretty antiquated
really
console. Switch 2 seems like a meaningful upgrade, at least hardware-wise.
People really love Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is a good game. But the state that it launched in, the actual state that it launched in, was pretty bad. It was a really, really glitchy game. To be honest, it is kind of a marvel. The state that Tears of the Kingdom launched in is actually really impressive, because that game is just so solid. It hardly ever breaks. It just works. But Breath of the Wild, it was a different story. There were a lot of parts of the game that the Switch just simply couldn't handle. It would lag. The loading was so long, and now you have a version of the game that actually functions in decent quality. And I do think people underestimate the value of that, especially when so many Switch games, that people already have. If you go and pick up a Switch 2 right now and you're not going to buy any games for it, okay, that's fine. If you have you're supposed to be upgrading. You're supposed to already have a Switch. If if you have titles like Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Odyssey,
Or even like the huge catalog of third parties that the Switch has. Like
right,
that is a
you're
really undervalued aspect of the Switch. That I feel like a lot of people that criticize it as, or criticize Nintendo as like not offering enough
well,
discounts or something like that. You know,
you don't have upgrades on those. I mean, the whole point is to
some of them
play
do.
Nintendo games in higher quality.
Some of them have slight
Um,
upgrades, but and pretty much unpaid too, from what I understand. But somehow people are still very, I don't know, it doesn't seem to have grasps the audience. Funny enough, a couple hours before we started recording this, there's a new upgrade for of all things Donkey Kong Country Returns.
3-2.
Yeah, it does seem like I think the effort to have a lot of good backwards compatibility, and
It's actually really nice.
yeah, it's very good, and it's very pro consumer, but it seems to have not captured people as well as it maybe they wanted it to.
I mean, it's basically just because, like I was saying, there was no killer app.
Yeah,
People, I mean, for me, that was Mario Kart World. I was really excited to play Mario Kart World, and I think Mario Kart World is an amazing game. It is a really good game. But people really didn't like. People, I don't know why people just didn't connect with that title. Because it is like a really. I mean, it's basically because people are spoiled on some level.
to some extent,
Like
yeah.
there's no other Mario Kart game that launched with 50 characters. Like that's never happened before. There's no Mario Kart game that launched with 40 plus vehicles. That's never happened before.
Which is
There's
which
no Mario Kart game.
would you not say that the design aspect of the roads being connected and having like the connecting tracks that
Yeah,
are
people
really,
really didn't like.
yeah, what do you think
I
of
mean,
it?
at least Western fans didn't like that.
The Japanese
Actually,
fans like it more?
at the very least, like Japanese fans were willing to play the game and were willing to play intermissions, and a lot of people in the West just decided to drop the game because they don't want to play the intermission tracks.
Yeah.
But really, there's nothing wrong with them. It's a very casual game. It's very fun. I do think that racing the 3-lap tracks is more fun, but actually, the intermissions are nice and they add an interesting amount of variety to the courses. There's like one course with a tornado. You go up into the tornado and it like spins you around and it makes you and it like puts you into the plane mode and flings you across the level. There's one level with like giant sand blargs that are like coming in and out of the sand and stuff. There's like a lot of cool spectacle. When you get launched out of the cannon glider on Airship Fortress, you can see Bowser's castle in the background, and it's just cool. Like the game is just cool. It's cool. It's really good. And to be honest, I don't even think it's not even like trend hopping. It's like very clear when you play the game, the amount of like love and effort that's been put into the game. It's pretty clear that the Mario Kart team like wanted to do this. They wanted to like connect everything together and have these cool set pieces, and there's a lot of interesting aspects to the game.
This brings an interesting question. It is the mostly, is the dialogue about like the Nintendo Switch being an unfulfilling console or lacking? Is it really just kind of like a Western fan thing? And how much is it just related to the current economic situation of most like Westerners right
Well,
now?
probably a lot.
Yeah, it does seem like the Switch 2 is doing pretty well in Japan, all things considered. Now granted, they do even have like the cheaper Switches on. Like it's cheaper in Japan. There's a version of the Switch 2 that's cheaper in Japan, and it was announced relatively early on in production that they were gonna release like a Japanese only. It's like region locked to Japan, but it's cheaper. And if you're a Japanese fan, why wouldn't you just buy that one? I wonder if like it's just like a significantly better deal over there, or it feels that way, and you know most of the negative stuff that we're getting is from like the Western fans dealing with a lot of like economic anxiety and stuff like that. Um, I
I
mean,
think people
yeah,
wouldn't be complaining if 3D Mario or Zelda launched with the
yeah,
console.
you think so? You think they'd
Oh
be
yeah,
like,
absolutely. The
yeah,
value, it I know it's expensive, but like the value that they're offering you with the console is actually really good because
it
you're
is,
getting all these free upgrades for
yeah,
past Switch titles that like actually like make the games work. Like, um, honestly I was really disappointed with the Switch generation just because a lot of the times, like there were all these issues with the games running in a less than ideal state. Okay, now you can play Bowser's Fury 60 frames per second, and Bowser is not like causing the game to like totally break every time he appears on screen. Now you can play. I don't even like Link's Awakening, but now you can play Link's Awakening without lag. Now you can play like Link's. One of the worst things about Link's Awakening was the depth of field effect. And it looks so bad on Switch. It really does look very bad, in my opinion.
yeah,
Um, and on Switch 2, the effect is reduced. It's subtle because they can do that. It's on Switch 2. The game just looks better. It runs better. It's not going to lag. It's running at 60 frames per second. Okay, that is a lot of value, and you get that for free. Like if you had Link's Awakening, and you liked Link's Awakening on Switch, if you go and buy the console for $450, you get the upgrade.
yeah.
There's a lot of value. There's a lot of value there, and it's very nice of Nintendo to just hand these things out for free. But what they don't have is like actual software that like that one killer title people really had to play this year. It just wasn't there.
Which is just crazy
Um, you know,
because, again, you'd think Mario Kart would be it, but I guess it didn't. Now, the question is like, Breath of the Wild, it was a Zelda game, but it's also like the most successful Zelda game of all time, right? Like
it's one of the best-selling Nintendo titles. Period.
yeah, and obviously it's a huge part of the success of the Switch One, but you know, it's not if I don't know if Skyward Sword had come out on Switch One instead of Breath of the Wild, I don't think that it would have been the same killer app.
Yeah,
It's just not.
absolutely.
It's just not what people wanted. So it's a shame that like now we have this Mario Kart, and by all means, it should be the big killer app. It's like the big open world Mario Kart. But I guess the trend for open world is just like not really as savory as it was at the beginning of the Switch One.
Well, I think I basically think it's because like, well, I mean, Mario Kart is not really an open world game anyway. Like, there's all sorts of experimental things you can do in the game, but the open world aspect of the game is like a really casual experience. I've actually I would say I put a decent amount of time into the free roam. It's really, really a casual experience. It's not like Breath of the Wild at all, where it's this in-depth experience. You just kind of throw free roam on when you're bored, and you can drive around and chill out and listen to music, and maybe you'll come across a P-switch and you'll do a mission if you want to. And there is a lot of content, and there is a ridiculous amount of content in the game. Like what people wanted. People were talking about like, oh, it would be so cool if there were boss fights or whatever. There's no boss fights. There's no adventure mode. There's no like actual substantive single player mode. Most of the fun of the game is racing online, and most people, I think, race online for maybe they'll race online for 60 hours or so. And then, they're going to be done with the title, basically. Now, if you really, really like Mario Kart, Mario Kart World is one of the best Mario Kart games to ever release, for sure. It is a really, really high quality title. And it has lots and lots of content in it. But if you're not in the mood to just race for an hour, every day, every other day, then the title has like a limited shelf life for you. For Mario Kart super fans, obviously that doesn't matter because they're just going to play the races over and over and over again. Obviously, because the racing mode is like by far like the meat of the game. Oh yeah, do you know about like Knockout Tour, Knockout
Yeah, it
Rally
looks
or
like a
whatever it's
really
called?
really good mode. But again, it's kind of like a
Dude, like what other Mario Kart game launched with like 3 modes like that? They always have battle mode. Sure, there's battle mode in Mario Kart World, but they launched with an entirely separate mode where like you drive all across the world and like you get like knocked out and eliminated if you aren't fast enough when you're passing the checkpoint gates. It was a really interesting way to utilize the open world, and they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to add that. But it's just something like people were like, everybody really likes that mode. Everybody thinks it's really fun. But nobody was like, oh wow, like this like totally rejuvenates interest in Mario Kart or whatever. It was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We kind of wanted Diddy Kong. We want more content, basically.
yeah.
Like I think that's the problem. Is like it really compares unfavorably to
To 8.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, 8 Deluxe.
Because
too
8
good.
Deluxe has been in development for 10 plus years.
Yeah,
Um,
probably more at this
and
point.
it's kind of unfair to compare the two at launch. Like in my opinion, I never played 8 Deluxe, but I did play 8 on Wii U.
I played a lot of 8 Deluxe, and it's an amazingly good game.
It is a good game. I like that game. But I wasn't super into it on Wii U. It didn't launch with as many courses as Mario Kart World did. It didn't launch with as many characters as Mario Kart World did. Like the battle mode launched in a state that's like even worse than the battle mode launch on Mario Kart World.
Yeah,
So like to me, like the value of Mario Kart World is obviously greater. And like when we get 10 years into the generation, Mario Kart World is probably going to be the better value than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
sure.
But it's just not the case now because you can go get a cheap Switch and get Mario Kart World for and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for $60 and the DLC for $20, and you have probably more value from the consumer's perspective, even though like all those extra courses are in such low quality, because they're basically just ports of courses from Tour and whatever. It doesn't matter. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the state that it launched in, it has the benefit of being a repackaged title with added content, with like added DLC.
Yeah, it just doesn't compare
And,
comparatively.
yeah,
I mean, that's a
doesn't.
good way to put it too, because like I guess the reason why Breath of the Wild was such a killer app is because it compared really favorably to what people wanted out of Zelda at the time.
At the
Yeah.
time, yeah.
Yeah, because like everybody was like angry about Skyward Sword, and there was a genuine hunger for like a Zelda game like Breath of the Wild that really shook things up. But I mean that's a good place to switch into. If that is what we have, and it's this like state of like where a lot of Nintendo fans are like not that satisfied about the state of the Switch 2, even though it's pretty good. What do you think could be, what do we think would be, the stuff that could come out this year that's really going to shake it up and make it worth it?
I think it's obvious that we are going to get a killer app this year. Who knows what it's going to be? It could be that Ocarina of Time remake.
Would an Ocarina of Time remake be the killer app? I don't think it would.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it would.
I think
at
it
all.
would.
No.
I think it would.
First of all, would it be like a true remake, like a 3DS remake, but like just looks better? would that be really
I think
excited for
the
people?
only reason, the only okay, and yeah, people would be excited for that, even if it was just an upscaled version of Ocarina of Time. But I don't think that they're going to do that. I think that um, like they're probably doing it from the ground up, and if the Ocarina of Time remake comes out this year, though, it might not come out this year. It could be 3D Mario this year.
I don't
As
think they're
well.
gonna make I just straight up don't think they're gonna make an Ocarina of Time remake. That just seems like not worth it, in my opinion. Like what are we gaining
I think it's
outside of the
happening,
name?
to be honest.
Outside of the name Ocarina of Time, which is really popular, I feel like you're not really there's not really anything in it for
You're gonna play.
Nintendo.
You're gonna pick up Ocarina of Time plus Sheik's funky mode.
Shinx,
Okay, Sheik's funky mode.
Sheik's sober mode.
Sheik's sober gaming mode.
True. I don't. Yeah, I really don't think that they would do it. I think that if we're gonna get a new Zelda game, here's the thing. There could be a remake. Let's say like Grezzo is just like they're just like okay, Grezzo just like make remakes from now on. Even though I would prefer Grezzo.
I think there is going to be an Ocarina of Time remake, and obviously it's going to be developed somewhat in house. And I think if Aonuma is coming back to direct the title, then it will wind up being a killer app for sure.
Has he?
And they're not going to just, and they're not just going to remake the title. They're going to add some significant features. They'll probably address some of the criticisms of Ocarina of Time, like they did with Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword. You know, they'll probably add some stuff to the overworld. And to be honest, I'd be fine with it. You know, we have the original version of Ocarina of Time. It is such a masterpiece, but I do think that people would be interested in a new take on the title. You know, in the same way that Final Fantasy VII Remake is like,
See, that's
is
that's
a
a good
totally
example.
new exploration of the title.
That's a good example. I don't think Nintendo would value what Square is doing with FF7 Remake. Because FF7 Remake is just what if FF7, but it was like, a modern Sony game.
Even more epic.
Even more FF and 7. What if it was like a modern Sony game? With like really expensive voice acting, really expensive like mocapping, really high-end graphics, a lot of like added cinematics, and a lot of this stuff just doesn't really add to the experience. Rizzy on chat says,
I think people would honestly cry if if Ocarina of Time came back and they redid the cutscenes and like retold the story and made everything, and they like actually showed Link's mom dying or whatever in a fucking flashback or something, some shit like that. People would fucking cry. I think people would love that.
Here's the thing, though.
I think people are really looking forward to the Ocarina of Time remake.
Here's the thing. Why would they do that if we're already gonna get the Zelda movie? What you're saying is like, what if they added this like aspect of cinematography and like kind of like a new Sony game?
Yeah.
Why would they do that when they're literally gonna get like a new Zelda film?
Well, they're probably not going to do that. But I do think it would be interesting, and I do think that Aonuma has teased the Ocarina of Time remake, and like we've been getting a 3D Zelda remake for pretty consistently in between every major Zelda release for a while now. It's been Nintendo's strategy for like 10 years at this point. So it's definitely happening. It will happen at some point, if not this year or next year, or like it could possibly even be the year after that, or it could launch after the next Zelda game even. But it definitely will eventually happen. But like the question is, how are they going to add value to the title? I do think that redoing the cutscenes and redoing the writing and the story would be one way that they could go about that, and I think people would really like that. But they will probably also try to add at least some gameplay features and probably flesh out Hyrule World a bit, the Hyrule Field, and maybe they'll add the Light Dungeon to the game or something like that, or maybe they'll make Sheik playable in an alternate campaign or something like that. Who knows?
I really
Um,
don't think this is
it'll happen. It'll
this is gonna
happen.
happen. I don't see it. It like goes against everything that Nintendo kind of values as a video game company, and all of it would be applicable to a Zelda film, which they are making. Uh, but I'm even then I'm not like against the idea of like Ocarina of Time getting like a remake, but I feel like it would be more in line with like I don't know like a the 3DS remake, but like
Like just an
in
upgrade.
higher fidelity. Yeah,
I think if it is just an upgrade,
people would like it,
basically,
but it wouldn't be
people
a
would
killer
like
app.
it. People would buy it, but I think people would be disappointed.
Yeah, it would not be a
People are
killer
really
app.
looking forward for. People really want the AAA, high quality version of Ocarina of Time, basically.
Yeah,
People were really looking ever since Aonuma teased it. People have been really looking forward to it and have like, uh, like there is hunger for this title again, basically. People want to see it in the highest quality it's ever been in. They want to experience the story again. And it would just be interesting if like, I don't fucking know if like you can find a cutscene of like Ganon's backstory or whatever the fuck. Like you as Child Link can like go to Gerudo, can go to like the Gerudo Fortress and like peek in through the window at Ganondorf's schemes or whatever. I think people would love that. People would go crazy for that actually.
I feel like the killer app has to be a new Zelda. That's it. You're explaining this to me, and I'm like, no, there's no way. It has to be a new Zelda. Like people would be so. Yes, a lot of people, especially like true blue, like hardcore Nintendo fans, would be very excited for it. But here's the thing: the new Zelda games, and what the new experiment of what Zelda is with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it sells better than the Final Fantasy remakes. It sells better than a lot of like the Sony sort of like cinematic.
It sells better than almost every other title.
Yeah, it sells better than like
ever.
everything. So like the hunger is in what they're going for. The hunger is in the new approach that they're taking for design and
Sure.
for directing the Zelda games. They're roasting you in chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that a new killer app that it's a Zelda game has to be just like the new 3D Zelda game. And even though it's been not that long since Tears of the Kingdom, we know that Tears of the Kingdom was done fairly early, like a year before it was released. But they just had it there, sitting there.
I mean, I will eat my shorts and my hat and my pants if a new Zelda game comes out this year. I think Mario, 3D Mario is more likely.
Yeah, I think
this
3D
year.
Mario. I could see it.
And if it's not, and if 3D Mario can't come out, then like they're gonna have it's gonna be a really barren year. I think overall it's gonna be a really barren year.
Steve
I don't think
says.
there's gonna be.
Steve says that New Zelda's gonna take another 7 years. He might be right. Okay, he might be onto something. But hopefully not.
No,
Hopefully.
New Zelda is probably. They already like Aonuma already said that they want to have a quick turnaround on the next title.
Yeah. Now here's
So
something.
they probably are going to stick to that. Okay, they're not going to go. There's not going to be more than 4 dungeons in the next Zelda title. It's not happening. I would like it to happen.
I would
But
like.
that's not happening.
I wanted to say I would like a third branch of Zelda, to be the Aonuma style Zeldas, but it seems like Aonuma is one of the primary people.
Yeah, the only way that would happen is the Ocarina of Time remake.
No, but hear me out. Hear me out. I would say that. However, it does seem that Aonuma is almost more in love with what Zelda is now than Fukubayashi. I feel like Fukubayashi.
His name is Fujibashi.
Oh, sorry, Fujibayashi. Fujibayashi is very in love with, or he's very willing to like mix things up really hard. Obviously, right? Like every Zelda game he's made is like, it's pretty fucking crazy out there, right? Except for maybe like Minish Cap, but even that it has its own like appeal, right? But like Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom, all these games are really out there, and it's obvious that he found success in Breath of the Wild and to a lesser extent Tears of the Kingdom. It seems to me like Aonuma is like one of the guys that's like, oh yeah, this rocks, it rocks actually that we get to make games like this and they sell so well. So I
Yeah, who
want,
wouldn't be? Like, are you kidding? Like,
yeah,
if
of
you were
course,
producing a title and it got fucking 32 million sales, you would be like,
yeah.
yeah, we're just doing this for the next fucking 10 years.
But what I'm saying is like if we were to get like a new Onuma game, I don't think we're getting like Wind Waker 2 or like Twilight Princess 3 or Ocarina of Time sequel again. You know, I think we're.
I mean,
think,
Al Numa is not going to step back into the director role.
yeah, he won't.
It's just not going to happen.
I don't think we'd get that, but you know, there is a hunger for like that sort of like era of Onuma game, and like in that sense, I would be fine with like an Ocarina of Time remake and leading like a path to like a remake of the other games. But again, those games, I don't think that the Final Fantasy VII remake is the way to go. But I think it could happen. I just don't think it will. It will have in that sense.
They will try to add some. They are going to try to add some value to the title.
Sure.
In some way. Well, whether that's going to be something like the quick sale from Wind Waker, or
yeah, but like,
you know, like
these
the
are small
Cave of
things,
War
right?
deals in Twilight Princess HD.
These are small things ultimately.
Yeah, but I do think like, and they probably will add like Master Quest 2. But that's the thing is like the title could use. See, I just think that you can say it's like a cringy idea or whatever, but I do think that like people are hungry for that aspect of like they want to see the title in a new light.
That's true. That's true.
And I do think that if 3D Mario can't release this year, then an Ocarina of Time with a bit of a shakeup, would be the closest thing to a killer app that they can provide,
Yeah.
I guess. You know, other than that, the only like title for hardcore fans is Fire Emblem. Yeah, but
And even
but
that is
they
like,
definitely are going to announce like 3 or 4 more titles.
yeah. We're not far away from
that will be good.
we're not far away from probably seeing like a meaningful amount of new titles for the console. I know it's unofficial, but with PC ports,
so.
we consumers don't need an Ocarina of Time remake. I get what you mean.
I think for most people, like that whole PC aspect. I mean, hardcore gamers don't need it, but like people who are just lay people, like they just like to pick up the new title. You know, they'll pick up the next title. People want that. People want it.
And to some extent, even us that play on PC or whatever, or are more familiar with like mods and stuff like that, and PC ports of these like Nintendo games, you know, I definitely would be interested to see like them add things to Ocarina of Time. It would be interesting. I just don't know how they would do it. But like, I guess like, that's part of Nintendo's charm, isn't it? Is that they love to surprise.
Like the thing is like I think people are too like people are probably thinking too much like, oh, they're going to ruin the title. But I think that if there isn't some kind of shakeup, it won't be interesting. Like I already have like the perfect version of Ocarina of Time, the N64 version. You can play it on N64. I have an N64.
He's
It runs at 50 frames per second. It runs at like
25 maybe.
It runs at like 20 frames per second. And it's a really, really good game. And I'm not joking. It is an amazing game, right? Like, it's such a good game.
Yeah, then you did play the PC port. You're right. You're right, Steve.
And then you know, if you need the frame rate to be hard, you can just play the PC port. You know, like you know, it's there. So there's no reason, like, unless they're adding Red Epona, who is faster or whatever, right?
Blue Epona,
right?
Red Epona, Yellow Epona. Yellow Epona can grab bombs with her mouth.
True.
Blue
She
Epona
shits out bombs.
Yeah, Blue Epona is only good in water. She sucks everywhere else.
We're adding the transformation masks to Ocarina of Time.
But only to Epona. Sora Epona. Alright, wonderful. Zelda news, I guess. Are there any other games that you think would be a meaningful, you know,
I think that's it. I think that's all they have, unless they come out with like a really out of left field title that's like, that's like a new IP or whatever.
Well, you're
What about that
forgetting.
building game? That
Yeah, yeah, I
the
know.
inside
Oh,
Nintendo Insider Program
yeah,
game
that's definitely gonna be a game, right? Like, it's obviously like just
has to be.
testing for this like MMO-ish game. Um,
It probably won't come out this year, though. I have to imagine that
that being
the reason they did that was because they needed feedback,
that being
and the title
said,
needed a lot more development.
yeah, that being said, I have to wonder, is that a killer app? I don't think it is.
It
Nintendo,
might, honestly, if like the characters are appealing enough, it might wind up being a killer app. The mining game or whatever, the Minecraft clone.
that brings in appealing characters from a new Nintendo game. There's a new Splatoon game coming out, right?
Right? Yeah, Splatoon Raiders, but I don't think that will be, bro. If okay, but I don't know. Maybe if Splatoon Raiders is this epic single player experience, and it is like that good, and it's like even better than Donkey Kong Bonanza. Obviously, the Splatoon team can like work magic and shit. And if the title winds up being really good, maybe it will wind up being the killer app for the year. But to be honest, I don't. If it's not Zelda or Mario, it's hard to see what would be a killer app. Like it's either going to be Zelda, Mario, or Smash Bros. There's no way Smash Bros. Is happening.
Yeah, the Sakura. Well,
Animal Crossing is obviously not happening this year. It just got updated.
yeah.
It has to be Zelda or Mario, and I really don't think Zelda is going to come out this year. So either it's going to be Ocarina of Time remake or 3D Mario, I guess. And it could just be now if the new 3D Mario title comes out this year and it like blows everybody's minds, it has to have been in development for like fucking 8 years at this point. It has to have been in development for a long time at this point.
Yeah.
To be honest, I really wonder. I really wonder, like, what the teams are thinking. Like, the Animal Crossing team after they had their fucking 25 plus million sales. Like, what was the Zelda team thinking? What was the Mario Odyssey team thinking after they made the best selling Mario title of all time, at 18 million copies or whatever. I honestly think that Nintendo must have said like, wow, we really did something amazing. Let's like do our best to like try and follow it up and not disappoint people and like really reflect on what's happened over the years that led to this. Because in a way, like I'm sure the Animal Crossing team are under a lot of pressure. They're probably under more pressure than they have been because now they have such a huge hit on their hands. And it probably was the same with the Zelda team and the Mario team as well, where it was such an unprecedented success for Nintendo. They had to have, on some level, it had to have made them think. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I do think there is a possibility that the year is like totally barren, and like the most we're going to get is like Mario Maker 3, Splatoon Raiders.
Which I would be excited for.
Yeah, I would. I mean, Mario Maker 3 would be awesome, but it's not that big single player killer app that people are looking for. I do hope. I don't know. I mean, maybe I think it'll be an interesting year overall, but it might. I still think. I mean, 2025 was still kind of light on titles, especially because Metroid Prime was so bad.
Yeah, I do think Metroid Prime kind of dampened a lot of people's, tastes of the year. Like, maybe if Metroid Prime 4 had come out and been like a really good game, people would have felt
That's
like...
actually impossible. Metroid Prime is a bad game, and has
well,
been
yeah,
for 20
but
years.
if the general public had thought it was a good game, I guess. This brings us to a good topic to change. Do you think there could be a new Metroid? It is the 40th anniversary.
It's possible. Now, I follow Metroid really heavily, and I really don't. The only reason I'm interested in Metroid 6 is because it's going to be made. and like we'll get to see what Metroid 6 would kind of be like or whatever. Um, but I don't really like Mercury Steam that much. You are aware that they did fire a lot of people after Dread, and that Dread was like a really tumultuous
Yeah.
game in development, and a lot of people left the company, and so like it's not actually clear whether or not they're going to be able to turn around another game so quickly. What was it? It was 2021. It's been 4 years. If anything, like if they had things together, they could have turned around another title in 3 years. Metroid games are only like 12 hours long. But we haven't seen it yet. So either they're saving it, or it's taking longer to develop, or Nintendo actually dropped Mercury Steam because
No, they definitely did not. I don't think they did that.
it's possible, and in my opinion, it is possible that they decided to move on from Mercury Steam simply because like they fired like half their staff, and like things the way that the company was handled during the development of Dread was less than ideal, and not everybody who worked on Dread is at the company anymore anyway. And Metroid and 2D Metroid might be on another hiatus. With the luck of the Metroid series, it could be possible. And who knows? Maybe Metroid Prime is going to be on ice too, for like the next
Yeah, I would
however
expect
long,
that Metroid
because
Prime
the title failed.
Yeah. No, I could easily see. I think I was saying this when Metroid Prime 4 came out and people were like making a big fuss about it. It seems like a lot of the stuff that people, not you obviously, but like a lot of stuff that the average reviewer really had issues with the game are things that can easily be patched. And I'm surprised they didn't do so faster, but maybe they couldn't do that for some reason.
No, you can't patch that game. The reason it's bad is because it's a hallway simulator where you fight guys.
Sure.
And you just shoot guys.
Sure.
And there's only like 3 enemies that you fight.
Yeah, but I could see, especially with Nintendo being kind of weird about what games they update and stuff like that. I could see some updates for that game that I could see that at least Retro focusing on making the game a little better post launch and leaving a better.
It's a title that I don't think Nintendo wants to invest anymore in Metroid Prime 4.
How did it sell?
If they're doing, we don't know. But if they're doing anything Metroid Prime related, it's going to be Metroid Prime 5, because they're going to take the mistakes and the lessons learned from Prime 4 and try and like actually get something out of it and make a better title. Either that, or Nintendo is going to tell them, look, we're not going to make you do Metroid Prime anymore because we tried to come back and we put so much effort into this title, and you can make it good. Now, I have to assume that Nintendo on the inside, they understand that the development, like they obviously understand that the title was in development hell, basically. And that, they were making up for the scrapped work on Bandai Namco's version of the title.
People in chat saying that Smash is like the obvious killer app.
There's no way Smash is happening in 2026. It's not happening. There's no way, right?
I mean, it could.
That would be crazy.
It could. No, the question is this finally the legendary Smash game that Sakurai is not directing? And also, why would it not just be like some sort of deluxe edition of Ultimate? I feel like that's just so easy, and it would probably satisfy people about as much as a new Smash game. But I guess every Smash game is ultimately like a deluxe edition of the previous one anyway. So, by that logic, they might as well just make a new one. Sakurai is pretty good at fucking pumping out games, man. I could see him at least showing off the new Smash game this year. But I agree.
That would be crazy.
I agree that I don't expect it to come out this year either. Um, you know, talking about this kind of
Xenoblade 4.
Xenoblade's probably coming out.
I don't think Xenoblade 4 is happening this year either.
Really, those guys are really good at pumping out games too.
They are. Monolith Soft is like they're machines.
Insane.
But with the console leap, with the leap in generation, right? Like obviously the development time is going to take that much longer.
Mark my words, everybody watching this. Monolith Soft will make candidate for like best looking game ever in the next like 5 years. It's gonna be like probably the most impressive video game of the current generation, or at least up there. Not because the Switch 2 is like amazing or whatever, but because Monolith Soft has been they're wizards. I don't know what they have. I don't know what they're feeding the people there, but these people are like technological wizards, and they've been that way since the PlayStation 1. They're insane. These guys are insane, and I can't imagine that the fact that they've been working on like PS3 hardware for the last like 10 years, and before that they were working on GameCube hardware. I can't imagine that this isn't
Xenosaga.
Yeah, this
mentioned.
is Xenosaga. You think? I mean, Xenosaga is just gonna be at most ports, and I think Soraya Saga was. Did she talk about like it's not happening?
No, she didn't. But actually, the guy at Bandai Namco, I think he's like the director of Tekken, Harada or whatever. In 2019, he said Xenosaga is not happening because Bandai Namco like did some market research and they found out it's not like profitable or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably not really.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I think unless you are overhauling the titles, because Xenosaga 1 and 2 are like bad games. 3 is more well designed, but like the gameplay in 1 and 2 is not amazing. They're kind of poorly designed titles, even if like they're kind of cutting edge in some ways. I wouldn't expect Xenosaga this year. If they are going to do Xenosaga, it'll be something like Xenosaga 1+2 on the DS, where they're going to like repackage the story and probably redo the battle system and cutscenes and stuff. I don't see like there's no way they could get away with anything else, just because like the original titles are. I don't know. Maybe they could tweak the combat in the original titles or whatever. But I don't think that's happening this year. I don't think we'll see anything from Monolith Soft this year. It'll have to be next year. I mean, they came out with Definitive Edition for Xenoblade Chronicles X last year. The most I think we can see is it would be really nice if we got the Xenoblade 2 upgrade, Xenoblade 1 upgrade.
Oh yeah, those,
on the Switch to run better.
Those have to be coming out
eventually.
It would be criminal if they didn't. Like all three,
it would be really nice.
All of the Xeno games very much would benefit from the Switch to 4K 60 FPS sort of upgrade.
Yeah, like fucking the resolution for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is like 720p.
Yeah.
It's like really crushed and reduced, and the game still looks amazing.
Yeah, again, they're absolute, technological wizards. I don't know how they do it. Well, let's see. What else do we have in the docket?
Now we didn't talk about game prices. I mean, that's a big deal.
Well, the $680 games. They're probably, I don't know. I don't know. It's actually this topic is like kind of weird right now, because of the economic struggles and anxieties in the world overall. I feel like, and especially Nintendo right now, like they had such a backlash for Mario Kart. Granted, maybe it wasn't like as bad as like the Western audience made it seem, but it does seem like they're not really justifying $80 games for anything else. Like Donkey Kong was not $80. Kirby was not $80,
It
and
was Donkey Kong was $90 with the DLC. I mean, they are
well,
absolutely kind of scumming a little
yeah,
bit. They are scumming a little bit, a
sure,
little bit,
they're
just a little
yeah, they're
bit.
definitely not super consumer friendly right now. Even though, like, again, the console is a pretty consumer friendly console thanks to its like backwards compatibility and the free upgrades that it'll
There
get you
is a lot
get.
of free stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the sad reality of the industry and just basically every technological industry right now, tech industry, that the prices are hiking. You know, like there's an even scarier conversation to be had around the fact that maybe video game consoles are not going to be, um, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with like the Nvidia AMD sort of situation, but like essentially they can sell the things that they were gonna sell to video game companies and computer parts and stuff like that for meaningfully higher margins because the AI people are just they're gonna use it for a business instead of for a commodity and or a luxury item. So like, if somebody's gonna spend, I don't know, like $1,000 on a graphics card to play games, um, another company might be willing to pay like meaningfully higher, like 50% more or something, because they know that they're going to be using that graphics card not for playing games like 2 or 3 times a day or like 2 or 3 hours a day, but they're going to be using it like constantly through the day and making money off of it. So like the right now the graphics card and just like surely GPU and RAM and stuff like that is all gonna just keep hiking because the demand is super high. But also like there is the true possibility that things just kind of break down. Like the stock market breaks down. For any stock market fans in chat, things like stock market to gold. I don't know if you're familiar. Gold is extremely profitable right now. And metals overall are just like really, really roaring in the markets. And the tech stocks are kind of falling behind. And this could signify like a okay, for real this time we're gonna have some sort of like either breakdown or there's gotta be like a bunch of money printed. So basically, it's kind of complicated right now for prices, and I could see the $80 game becoming a norm, especially with like Grand Theft Auto coming out probably this year, and potentially being like a $100 game. It's kind of scary right now for game prices, I guess. But like Nintendo being the first to put the $80 game price tag it definitely didn't help them too much because now everybody considers them to be like really scummy and greedy.
It was probably forward thinking from Furukawa, because eventually like nobody's going to care anymore because it will be the standard. I mean, prices are increasing overall. Every single industry is like going through the same thing with prices increasing. And I think Nintendo is going to get away with it. I don't think that their business is going to suffer
No,
from
no.
this.
Nintendo going to be fine. Nintendo has as much as like I wanted to mention the fact that like they've had a 20%, roughly 20% like a fall in their stocks, in their public stock. Even if they're losing like 20% last quarter or this quarter or whatever, they're still at a high, essentially, like at a macro high from their entire history. They've never been as profitable as
Right.
they've been last year. Last year they reached their top of Nintendo stock price and profitability. Specifically right before the Switch 2 was coming out. Like the excitement was just extremely high. So it's like very reasonable that stock prices and profitability for the company falls down, especially in the short term like it is right now. But the expectation is that like historically every time Nintendo has a peak and then it falls down 20%, historically what happens is that they eventually blast past that, right? Like it's a if there's a term for this, it's just like it's a rally down to recover that sort of like momentum to like keep going. So again, a lot of things could go right economically for Nintendo, but it does sort of necessitate that they bring in the A game with their first party games and
Yeah, they need the killer title, and obviously nobody knows what it's going to be. People think maybe 3D Mario will come out, but even that is not guaranteed,
but
right?
even that makes me think like I don't know. It's a little weird too, because like it is like the best selling console of all time at this point. I think even still, it still is. It definitely had the best launch of all time. Um, so it's got to be set. It's got to be seen. Like maybe it might be the case that like nothing comes out this year, and like the console still sells really well.
Right.
Um, it depends. It's definitely going to be an interesting year to follow Nintendo for their economics. That's for sure. Um,
I think the I don't know. I might wind up playing Fire Emblem, but I mean, if Splatoon Raiders doesn't come out this year, I don't know what Nintendo title I'll be playing, I guess.
would it not come
Besides
out?
just more
Splatoon is
Mario Kart.
pretty
Yeah, because
quick to develop. All things
but they
considered.
aren't. Yeah, but there's been no confirmation that it's going to come out this year. I mean,
It's
people
definitely
assume
coming
that
out.
it's going to come out this year.
It's definitely coming out this year.
Probably.
It's probably going to come out this year. So we're probably going to wrap up soon, but before we do so, I wanted to ask you, what would be, there's going to be a Nintendo Direct soon. What would be like the thing that you want to see? I mean, I guess you've mentioned that you think the best thing for the company would be a Mario or a Zelda, but is that what you personally want to see the most?
I definitely want to see 3D Mario soon, but to be honest, I'm fine if they want to keep developing it. If they want to keep polishing it, like I could wait till 2027, and I could definitely wait, dude. I could wait 10 years for the next Zelda game if they really are, if they really are going to go back to the drawing board and try and make it, polished and try and follow up Breath of the Wild in, an insane way that blows people's minds. I could wait. I guess I want Splatoon 4, but I don't think Splatoon 4 is going to come out soon, I guess. It would be nice to see Splatoon 4. Who knows, maybe Splatoon 4 will actually be revealed or something this year. And Splatoon Raiders is kind of like, just a side thing that, they managed to actually finish in an efficient time, and Splatoon 4 will just be Splatoon 3 with more maps, modes, and whatever. I honestly would be fine with that. To be honest, I really wouldn't mind a bare bones version of Splatoon 4 coming out with like better maps, and just a little bit more effort put
There's no hope for maps, bro. I'm sorry. There's just no hope. They just keep getting worse at making maps. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if like late
I think
Splatoon 3
it specifically, to be honest, I specifically think it's because the big open maps focus tested poorly with new players, one, and two, the Switch probably just couldn't handle it. I think they probably had to scale. Oh yeah, dude, like the like beta version of Splatoon 3 like looked like totally different. Like the maps were so much larger. Like it's clear there was like some trouble development going on in Splatoon 3. Like something happened during development. If I had to guess what that was, is the Switch simply could not handle the amount of like chaos that was happening on screen, plus like the big maps that they were going for. And they had to remake like the majority of the game's stages. So something happened. Who knows if that really was like technical issues, but on the Switch 2, they definitely will not have those problems anymore. Dude, seeing a real HD Splatoon game again after Splatoon on Wii U, after so long, that will be exciting. I personally really like Splatoon. I don't care about.
Me too.
I really don't care about people's complaints of like, oh, they're not going to add any new modes. It's just an upgrade. I don't care. Give me Splatoon 3 upgrade. Okay, give me the better version of Splatoon 3. I will pay $70 for that. Fuck it. I will pay $80 for that because I put like fucking 700 hours into Splatoon 3. I put like 300 hours into Splatoon 2. I really like Splatoon. It's just a game I enjoy playing. I enjoy trying to be good at the game. I enjoy aiming and shooting. Um, you know, I would like, I mean, if I can make like a pie in the sky dream, then we're getting a new 2D Metroid game that's developed in house at Nintendo. Um, this year, we're getting a new 2D Zelda game that's developed in house at Nintendo this year. You know, like I mean, I could. Splatoon Raiders will be a sequel to Wind Waker.
For no reason. Direct
Just because I
canon
want it.
sequel.
Um,
Direct sequel
I
to
don't know. What do you
Mario
want? What do
Sunshine.
you want? What would you like to see? I guess I don't feel like there's a lot that Nintendo can do to impress me this year because I know Splatoon 4 is not coming out. I'm really, I hope 3D Mario comes out, and if 3D Mario comes out, I'll be happy no matter what they release this year.
As
It
someone,
would be nice if the new Fire Emblem is good because I really didn't like
it's
Engage.
probably gonna be okay.
To be honest,
It's,
I thought Engage was good at the beginning of the game, but
I'm kind of sad
I got to
that
the final boss and dropped it.
I'm kind of sad that we didn't get the FE4 remake. I'm a big fan of FE4. I think it's probably
It'll probably happen
my favorite.
eventually.
I don't know anymore. I do think that mechanically that game is a little too complex for Nintendo. Maybe that scared them. Um, but as somebody who has not bought the Switch 2 and actually has no plans to buy it yet, even though I would like to at some point, but I'm just not persuaded yet. I'm a bit of a Grinchy sort of figure when it comes to buying things. Um,
A Grinchian work.
a Grinchian work, a Grinchian man, of course. I mean, I do think that like the second I see the new Zelda, I'm like, well, I gotta buy it. Um, and also the new 3D Mario will probably sway me, even though Donkey Kong is in my mind just like basically a new 3D Mario, even if it's not one to
It really
one.
isn't.
Yeah, but it kind of like captured my
This is
attention
something.
in the same way. Um, I love Fire Emblem. I don't think I'm gonna buy it for Fire Emblem. I don't know. I don't know what would really drive me.
I don't think. I think Fortune's Weave is going to be a
It's
somewhat cheap title, quick turnaround. It'll be better. Like from the screenshots we've already, from like the footage we've already seen, like the environments in the fields don't look Switch 2. Like obviously it's going to look better and
Well, you
run better
see,
than
it's
on
a
Switch 1,
game
but
by Intelligent Systems, and they kind of, you know how we're saying that like the Xenoblade guys, Monolith is they're like wizards. The real thing is that they've been sucking up talent and intelligence out of Intelligent System for for all these decades because Intelligent Systems is ass at fucking developing. They're almost like on par with like Game Freak in some ways. Maybe not as bad because like Game Freak kind of really
no, I think
fucks around.
I actually do think Nintendo Intelligent Systems is a really high quality developer.
For Mario,
Historically, they
for
have
Paper
been.
Mario maybe, but not
Yeah,
for
for
Fire
Paper
Emblem.
Mario,
Fire Emblem has
specifically for Paper Mario.
Fire Emblem has, especially in the transition from the 3DS, it's been rough for them. They've made some rough games. Uh,
Dude,
I
I would love it if they went back to sprites. To be honest,
Oh well, everybody
it'd be so
would,
fucking
but
awesome.
you know that's it's done.
It won't happen.
It's literally a lost art at this point. Only like wannabe indie game devs can even conceive the possibility of using sprites. Um, there are some games that I'm really excited about, but all of them are either multi-plat or mostly coming to um, well, they're like not necessarily like a big
What about
Nintendo.
Pragmata? Are you excited for Pragmata?
Not really,
Care
no.
about Pragmata?
A game I'm really looking forward to is Okami 2. Okami 2 is probably like up there for me. I really want to see the next Fumito Ueda
Ami
game.
sucks.
No, Okami's good. Uh, and there's a couple other games that I'm excited about. Um, That's basically it. Those two, the Fumito Ueda game, the Okami game. There's another game that I was like,
I
oh,
don't think it's like the robot game, right?
yeah, it's the new Fumito Ueda
Uh,
game. Either of those games I would be excited for. But again, all these games are coming out for like other consoles too. So
on PS5.
yeah, I guess
Nobody bought Xbox.
I guess I would, you know, I would be excited for some. Mostly, I'm excited for new things with Nintendo. That's kind of what we all like about Nintendo, right? Is that they're kind of like out there.
Arms 2, legs.
Arms
Dude,
too.
I
Arms
don't
two
care
would be
about Arms
cool.
2. I won't.
I like Arms.
Arms 2 probably will happen eventually.
Arms is cool.
But I don't give a fuck.
Arms is cool. I actually would be kind of hyped for Arms too. Um,
No, you wouldn't. You don't give a fuck about Arms.
I like Arms. Okay. Lola Pop guys,
You
Lola
don't
Pop
fucking
names.
care about Springman.
Uh,
You don't care about Springman. You don't care about Ribbon Girl.
you don't care about Doctor Coil,
Dr. Coyle puts my hand in my head.
Doctor Coil,
Shakes my head.
Lollipop, the girl that's basically Tron Bonne.
The
They're
Black Queen.
yeah, the Twin Tail.
The French.
Uh,
Twintel. Okay, Twintel is pretty good.
Min Min. Come on. Looks at camera.
Okay, I do like Min Min. Min
Looks
Min
at
is cool.
camera. Shrugs. Come on, guys.
Min Min, come on.
Don't we all love Min Min? Okay, we all love Min Min. Ninjala. Let's go.
Ninjala. Dude, Ninjala 2.
Ninjala. Well, yeah. I'm not.
Nobody gives a fuck about Ninjala.
I'm not really sure. I'm expecting Nintendo to. I'm hoping they surprise me. That's basically it. Because right now, even though it does
Like,
look like a
wouldn't you
really
like a new 2D Zelda? Um,
I would,
by like internal Nintendo team, that would be awesome. I would love that.
I don't know that I feel like 2D Zelda. First of all, I haven't played Echoes of Wisdom, even though Shapes did
Yeah,
say
it sucks.
Shapes liked it a lot, and I was like, okay, I trust Shapes. But you hate
No,
it.
it is the worst Zelda game of all time, to be honest.
You hate it, and I also trust you. So
I didn't hate it. I thought it's an okay title. It's a decent title. It's not bad.
which do you?
But it's also not
Okay,
Zelda quality.
uh,
Really not Zelda quality.
before we wrap up, the Zelda dream is dead in my eyes. Okay, Zelda has changed. It's never going to be.
Zelda has changed.
Zelda has changed. It's never going to be Link's Awakening, and Link to the Past, and Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask anymore. That rhymed. Um,
I don't think that's true. I think eventually there will be some interest in adapting the A Link to the Past format.
no offense. No offense.
Eventually.
Maybe I should replay it. The last 2D Zelda game that's not Echoes and it is like original, right? Like it's not a remake of Link's Awakening. Um, is Link Between Worlds.
That is an amazing title.
It's a good game. I don't think it lives up to the 2D like classic 2D games. Um,
I agree. I don't think it's as good as A Link to the Past or Link's Awakening, but it's still really good. It's still a really good title. I mean, you got the fire rod, you got the ice rod. That's nice. You got the hook shot. That's nice. Okay. There's not even the hook shot in Breath of the Wild. You can't even use the hook shot in Breath of the Wild.
if there was a new Zelda game, this actually would get me really excited. A new Zelda game, 2D or 3D, I don't care. We get items again, but they're all new items. I would
That
actually,
would be awesome.
I would actually be like, I gotta buy that. I gotta try that because like I feel like right now part of why Anuma loves and just the team loves Breath of the Wild is because they're just kind of like unshackled from okay, we gotta have the bombs, we gotta have the hook shot, we gotta have the fucking
Dude,
whatever.
I would actually like get on. I would fall to my knees and start crying if the next Zelda game didn't have bombs. I'd be like, it's fucking over.
No, they'll always have bombs because it's funny to blow things up. But we don't have hook shots. We haven't had the hook shot for a while. Okay. Um,
I mean, they at least have the fire rod in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the
yeah,
Kingdom.
and hammers, and they have boomerangs and stuff. Like it's all there in some ways, but it's different.
You don't get it in the dungeon.
But if they were to be, and I don't even know if there could be a game that did this. I actually don't even know if it's conceivable. If you could have a game that is a Zelda game that operates as a 2D Zelda game, and you could come up with like a brand new set of items, that would be amazing. That's something that I wouldn't even expect a fucking indie game dev, like a really good indie game dev to do. Like the Shovel Knight guys are
It would
making
be really fun.
the Shovel Knight guys are making a new Zelda game, like their
They
version of
aren't.
their version of a Zelda game, right?
It's not really.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a Zelda game, right? Um,
Not really.
I do not expect them to like reinvent Zelda items because they're just so rudimentary in like really good ways. But if Nintendo gave it a try, I mean, they kind of did do that for some of the abilities in Tears of the Kingdom, I think. So stuff like Ascend and stuff like that is like, it's really
Yeah,
different
since never been. Yeah.
it's really different from an item, but it's also at the same time I'm like this is good. This
Dude,
is like
can you
mechanically
imagine
sound.
like the puzzle potential of getting Ascend in a dungeon and like actually having to like use it to solve puzzles and stuff
That
instead of
would
it
be
just
cool.
being a convenience.
That would
Instead
be
of it
cool.
just being a convenience factor where like oh it just lets you it's there so you can ascend to the surface at any time and so you're never trapped and like yeah it's really nice and it's a really good ability and really it's really cool. But the actual like puzzle potential of Ascend
ETD says,
was only explored in some shrines.
first of all, ETD says Sin and Punishment 3. It's never happening, buddy. It's never coming
Sorry.
back. He says that Mina is a Star Tropics game, actually. I've not played Star Tropics, but I've heard good things about it. Some people hate it, some people love it. Um, well, there's that. I think we've covered basically all I wanted to cover. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? It's pretty late for me.
I guess not. I can't keep you any longer, Nico. You need your Z's.
I need my ZZs. Well, thanks for joining the first episode of Sober Gamers. Hopefully, we do these
The sober gamers.
not
Tune
too
in next
often.
time for another sober yoink.
You've been waiting years for that. Hopefully, we do these when it's meaningful. When there's shit to say, and when there's fun stuff to talk about with Nintendo. But
We'll
people.
come back. We'll come back next week and discuss our thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom.
Well,
Tune in.
well, there's definitely gonna be a February direct at this point. So hopefully, after the direct, we have some stuff to say, or before we could make predictions or whatever.
Now I do the Tears of the Kingdom criticism podcast.
Yeah,
Why not? Everybody, big topic.
skitty bitty,
Skitty's revenge.
Skitty-
Skibbity Bibbity's revenge.
Skibbity Bibbity joins the chat, and we get to shit on Tears of the Kingdom more. But we just defend it. We just like, nah, it's actually all right.
Strokes my neck beard, pulls out my katana. Not on my watch, skitty biddity.
Beautiful. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.